Alright, fellow Kaijudo duelists, this is Chris here from Team Squeaky here at Kaijudo Central. So, it's taken me a while to take and do this video, but I wanted to take and do kind of a breakdown of the KMC at Manteca, what we saw there, my thoughts on it, and just kind of go from there about what I think the meta is going to take and be maybe going forward. So, first off, KMC at Manteca. Long drive. It was 12 and a half hours, 13 hours from the Seattle area down to that area. It happened at a store. Originally what they were called Alluring Treasures. Now they're called War Torn Front. Great group of people. I would tell Wizards straight up that if you were looking for another location in the future to take and hold different events, keep this venue. Keep this place. The owner, the tournament organizer, the judge, and everything were right on par with what they should be. Couldn't give those guys more props about how they held the event and was running and everything else like that. Everybody there had a blast. We all had a lot of fun, and I have to sit there and say, nothing but good things about the event. So, in the future, Wizards, if you're definitely looking for a store out of California to hold another event, you definitely should be looking at this store again. Just a solid place to take and play cards. Not only on the Kaijudo front, but even on the Magic the Gathering front. So, alright. About Manteca, California KMC, we had 26 players, so we played 5 rounds. There was a lot of different decks, to be quite honest with you. I saw stuff on Facebook and tweets and that about that area being ready for Rush. No. It definitely was not the way that I thought. It's kind of funny. When I got there, I was reading all these different stuff, so I went to go meet the store the night of, talk to the tournament organizer and stuff like that, and he was telling me something, so I'm like, well, crap. I had this deck in mind that I was going to sit there and play, but I'm like, well, if they're prepping for that, it might throw my deck off course. So I built up what I was expecting them to take and do, and lo and behold, they didn't do that. I think if they would have done maybe what I did, I think probably it would have changed maybe the way that the field went, but it definitely changed my outlook on what I took and I did and what my team did in terms of decks. We originally went down with a team build, and all of a sudden we went, crap, this team build's not going to go against this with the changes I thought that they had done to WDL. And so we all kind of just went out in a whole different direction. I went completely rogue. At that particular point, I think I was brain fried because my teammates were like, well, design this, we're going to play against you and stuff like that. Kind of got brain fried. So I just decided to listen to Bobby Break. Said, dude, just have fun, enjoy what's down there. So it's exactly what I did. I just went kind of rogue. I was playing a WDN ramp build I found on TCO the night before because we were up to like midnight. I was just like, I'm just brain fried. I don't want to sit there and build or go back to this and that. So I just found something, and like I said, I just had fun at that particular point. The cool part about it was, at least for me, is though even though I X3'd out, but each round I went 3 games with an untested deck and with just playing rogue. So yeah, stupid on my part. I know better as a Magic player not to do that, but like I said, at that particular point I was just brain fried. I'm like, you know what? Let my teammates run with it, and I'm just going to sit there and have fun and give it the community. Kind of sucked in some which way, shape, and form, but in other ways, I did have fun and allowed my teammates to take and do their thing. So, because Mike forgot his cards, which he started borrowing from me and Larry. So that kind of stopped some different things. So, but yeah, no. So that's what ended up taking and happening with me. And I know on, one of the posts I put on Facebook Dojo, I went off on Bottle. My first 2 rounds, I literally lost games that I had no reason to lose because of Bottle, on a Shield Blast nonetheless. And yeah, trust me, I had choice words that day for Bottle. But if you look at our top 8 and what was there, that was not what was winning the day by far. There was definitely other decks. AJ had a Bakersfield. No. I think he's local to that place. I may get corrected on a particular piece. I know he was running LWD, and he had been undefeated all day. Then what was it? We had another LWD build that was in top 8 that was run by Alex, who's now part of Team Squeaky. You had Mike's Light, Water, Darkness, Fire bottle build. It's not greed, so please don't call it greed. It is a bottle build. I would say bottle tempo. I think it's what we kind of talked about on the way back home. That ended up being there. Then another top 4 was Noah Kessel, who's now part of Team Squeaky as well. He was running Dark Cyberbolt, if I remember correctly. I don't think it was Aqua Bolt. Yeah, it's Dark Cyberbolt. And then the other 4 top 4s were Rush decks. So Rush was played pretty heavily there, and I don't see that going away, to be honest with you. The control builds that are out there, Rush gets under, at least the current versions, and they keep adapting themselves to deal with the control decks, to be honest with you. They try to get under them, they try to be so fast. They've got an issue with, obviously, Infernus coming out into the field and stuff like that on a bottle break. But they're pretty. You're going to see Rush going forward and staying here as long as players continue to sit there and play anywhere, I'd say, between 48 and 55 card control decks. If you're expecting anything else, sorry, they're going to continue to sit there and come after you. So I would sit there and say, as we continue to go through the KMCs more and we get to the Kaijudo Championships, expect more aggro builds, expect more different rush builds adapted, expect aggro builds, and even probably mid-range, to be honest with you. The control builds, if you guys who are playing control continue to go above 50 cards, I wish you the best of luck. I know why you're doing it. It's because you're expecting other people to sit there and play control, so you're having to worry about decking out and stuff like that, because that's what you guys basically do in a mirror match. But I'm telling you right now, with the possible inconsistencies to that big of a deck, good luck. These aggro decks are going to move by you, and they're going to move by you fast. If you can't get a corral out or get any of your blockers out or get a shield blast, it's over. So I would suspect probably in the future that you'll see control builds come back down to about the 46 to 48 card range, because they are going to need to be more consistent. Top 8, Mike was telling me how the top 8 went because he played against AJ first in the LWD build, and because Mike's deck is only 46 cards, it got out faster, got it more consistently, and it just... I'm not trying to sit there and talk bad or anything else like that, but literally, from my understanding, from what Mike told me, it literally just laid waste to LWD. Just because LWD is so big, it's just not consistent in what it does. They get put behind by these decks that are aggressive. They can go to about a mid-range with larger creatures, and they're just in trouble at that particular point. And for those of you, I would definitely start looking at different cards to play. I don't want to sit there and say what, because I don't want to sit there and give different ideas out there, because obviously I got to play LCQs now here in Seattle, and and hopefully get to my invitation at Pivotal Point to the Kaijudo Championship. But I would begin to look at different cards other than what you're seeing in the normal builds. You're going to have to look at different things out there in order, I think, to get past what's currently there. That's just a little hint and tidbit about what you need to really be looking for and looking at, I think, going forward. I would suspect, to be honest with you, Megabugs is going to go big. Megabugs is going to be big going forward. I saw a deck down there, and I'm seeing decks online, and I could definitely sit there and see Megabugs coming around. They can get in quick, fast, underneath the things and just swarm players. I see, like I said, a smaller version of the control probably coming back. And to be honest with you, I could see more evolution decks coming. Just because they can get under dragons, to be honest with you. And if they play their cards right, if they build it right, trust me, if you think they're fearing Herald, no, they're not. No, they're not at all. They can deal with it. They've got ways to deal with it. So I see eventually, these dragon builds, they're even going to have to take an adapt. The way that how we're moving now as a whole with the field, the decks are going to be quicker. They're going to be faster. They're going to be more consistent. Because now people are getting up underneath the control. They're getting up underneath the dragons. And these board wipes that people are playing, I hate to sit there and tell you this. If you're playing Barrage, Dragon's Breath, Suffocate, you're just clustering up your deck. Mike said it, I think, best on that particular piece from the team. They're taking up slots in your deck that you could use to take and do other things. And it's just a matter of you figuring out how to sit there and play it the right way. Barrage, yes, can possibly wipe a field, but in reality, what's the reality that's going to hit it when you could probably play something better, right? Be more aggro and controlling and tempoing out that particular way. Those are things people need to take a look at going forward. Because if you're going to rely on these board wipes to sit there and protect you and your shields, you got the wrong way of thinking. I'm telling you right now on that one, after what I saw from Manteca and what I'm seeing going forward with things. So, you deck innovators out there, deck builders and stuff like that, start looking at different ways to build decks and start looking at different cards. Because the old way of thinking, if you keep that line of thought, you're going to be in trouble. So, Keeper decks, I see new versions of Keeper coming. We had built one up before we went to the KMC that was doing really well in testing until I did something with LWD, and then it kind of messed up the aggro decks. Like it was handling Rush, and it was handling aggro fairly well. But it was still way too big of a deck, to be honest with you. I think it needs, once again, the control decks need to be brought back down to 46, 48 cards for consistency. Otherwise, once again, they're in trouble. And if they're doing 50 for whatever for Mirror, I wish you guys the best of luck versus Rush in that, because Rush and aggro are definitely going to be the decks going forward. So, now, one thing I would sit there and I would tell you guys too is that when it comes to the meta, I would have to sit there and say, after what I saw at Manteca, what I heard from Victoria, Canada, with what happened up there, and what I'm seeing, as much as I wanted to wring the creator of Bottle of Wishes' neck and hanging him up to dry off of a flagpole and stuff like that, the meta is in pretty good shape, to be honest with you. We have a very good balance. Whether the players that are playing against Bottlenet and you're running into it and you think, oh no, the meta is just crap because you got this crap card, trust me, I'll be the first person to sit there and complain about it, yell, scream, and everything else like that from what I ran into. But I do have to sit there and say this, is that the meta is in a very, very, very good place as we continue to sit there and move along. The players that have now embraced Rush have created something different for the format that we didn't have before. And players are now going more aggro and more tempo-y. You're seeing more of those decks. You're still seeing the Bottle Dragon builds, but if you look at those places where people were trying to play that and you saw a lot of aggro, those decks aren't popping up, and the control decks aren't either. So if you look at Victoria, Canada, Prince Rupert, Canada, look at California with Manteca, you're going to see a whole different meta, I think, going forward. Yeah, I think, what was it? The one is in Indiana maybe showed a little bit. It's because you have more players at that particular point playing that with less players playing Rush, less players playing aggro. And as you get more players to continue to sit there and play aggro, continue to sit there and play Rush, you're going to see a shift in what you're seeing in the top 8. So I would tell everybody to be on the lookout for that, because this meta is in a very, very, very healthy state. And Wizards is, from what we learned at Manteca, they're not just looking at the top 8 deck lists anymore. They're yanking everybody's. They want to report on everybody's deck list because they want to know what's being played. Is the meta, shifted? Is the meta too constrained on one particular build? They're looking at everything right now to make sure that everything stays balanced. So, but my thoughts and my views is that as we move forward with after the KMCs, I think you guys are going to see a faster, more tempo-y meta. I don't see the 50-plus control builds being there. And to be honest with you, Greed Dragons, I could see going away partially. I think you'll see Bottle builds, but I don't think you'll see the Bottle Dragon builds, but I don't think you're going to sit there and see Greed. I think you're going to see more Dark America Dragon builds, like my first 2 rounds I played against it. And like I said, I went to 3 games, but it's a viable deck, and as people continue to tweak it and do different things with it, it's going to get even better. But I still, once again, I'm going to tell you right now where I see the meta going is it's going to go more aggro. You're going to see a lot more Rush because as control players continue to sit there and build out these big decks. They're just going to slide right under you. So, alright. That's my kind of report on Manteca and where I think the meta is going to take and go, guys. So, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out here shortly. So, you got the Las Vegas KMC this weekend, and you got one more weekend after that at KMC's before we kind of sit and wait for the LCQs here in Seattle and the Kaijudo Championship. So, it's going to get interesting. And just to let you guys know, I will be at Uncle's game in Redmond, Washington on Monday to sit there and see what's going on with that bail opening. Going to be interesting. I'll try to report to you guys as quick as I can on that one. So, alright guys, this is Chris from Team Squeaky here at Kaijudo Central. Later.